So people think the tree of knowledge is bad and that we shouldn't have eaten from the tree of knowledge. It's not the tree of knowledge, it's the tree of knowledge of good and evil specifically. And that is your duality thought processes, your polarity mind, the higher frontal lobes that go, this is good and that is bad. It's not that good and bad don't exist. It's that when we eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or we live our lives through that this is good and this is bad and try to micromanage the world that way, it causes a breakdown. And that's what it means by you shall surely die, because you're not living in the flow. Life is a flow and it cannot be controlled. And see, this is the thing. People want to control everything. The reason they say Eve was tempted by the apple from the tree of knowledge of good and evil is Eve is the higher consciousness. And this is the difference between the Adama, which was just the red clay body, the flesh body, or the animal body and the animal mind, versus the higher thought processes of the next engineered human being that came from that. They made us in their image, but they didn't want us to have higher thought processes. Because everybody always goes, why would God not want us to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? That's why. Because it's easier to control us if we don't have these higher thought processes. But since they did create humans with higher thought processes, genetically engineering or whatever, they were like, well, okay, just be fruitful and multiply, but you're gonna have labor pains when you give birth, and you're gonna do this and that. You're not gonna be able, you have to plow the fields, because they were having interaction, sexual interaction with the so-called gods, the giants or whatever. And of course, that would cause a lot of pain in birth, yes. Also, trying to micromanage the world. You're going to have to go out and grow your own food and stock it up and hoard it. And then that leads to distribution of the food. And that leads to this and that. And, before you know it, you're in the industrial age. And see, all of these things were the result of humans trying to micromanage the world. I mean, that's just my perspective of it. It could be something completely different, but I know that it's not about a man and a woman in a garden. It's an analogy, because everything is about consciousness. The story of the man and the woman in the garden doesn't do any good for you, because it's something that happened long, long ago. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is take the moral of the story or the analogy, and that helps you. This is hard for people to wrap their mind around, but you have to silence the thoughts that want to categorize and control, organize everything in their world so that they don't feel like they're out of control. People want to be in control. But when you let go and let God, so to speak, when you go with the flow, things just kind of work out. And it kind of takes you to another level. It's like shifting gears and you go into the next octave, and people start just sort of living with each other and moving around each other instead of trying to control each other. That's the difference between the parasitic paradigm and the symbiotic paradigm, or the patriarchal versus the matriarch. And that's what we're moving into right now. The divine feminine, the flow, the tree of life. It's all coming back. So it's not the tree of knowledge. Knowledge is okay. It's okay to have knowledge. It's when you're attached to the polarity construct of this and that, good and bad, right and wrong, even though it's mental, it's a mental concept of right and wrong, good and bad. There's nothing wrong with that. But attaching to it and making it the what is the word, template for your reality, that's problematic, obviously. Just take a look at history. Doesn't work.